books, notes, phone. I'm armed for bear. I'm going to pick a bone with you. And yeah, and here we are. We are almost 500 chapters in, and this is the first time. This is the first time since we have started One Piece where I'm going to say, you're wrong, and I brought the receipts to prove it. Welcome back to Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches.
Okay.
In the nicest way possible.
In the nicest way possible.
In the nicest way possible. I'm going to say you're wrong. And so much so that I invested a lot of time in prepping for this, what I thought would be a short video, but probably won't be because One Piece is never short.
One Piece is never a short video.
So I invested a lot of time and a lot of energy paging through Thriller Bark, page by page.
Page by page through Thriller Bark.
To write down all the information I can about Gecko Moria. And there's a reason for it. And it has to do... I love the comments and I love everybody's enthusiasm, but I completely disagree with the sympathy for Gecko Moria.
Okay.
And I also completely disagree with this concept that he's the mirror to showing what Luffy could become if Luffy goes to the Grand Line and ultimately loses in his goal.
Okay.
And I think that's wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
So can we caveat this with everything up to this point?
Well, we're going to. That was actually going to be my very next comment.
Okay.
I think some of these comments are borderline spoiler because I think they're written with knowledge of something that comes after chapter 500.
Okay.
And we're sitting, I think Thriller Bark ends at 490.
Okay.
Right? So I think people are writing these comments with knowledge that I don't have.
I think some of them acknowledged.
A couple of them did.
Yeah.
But not everybody. Mm-hmm. All right. And so I will say this. Welcome to his world. Because he has spent 2.5 years doing a fantastic job of not tipping his hand when I'm close, off, operating in the dark, and kind of feeling around and the whole bit. And I mean that in all sincerity. These comments, more than any at any point in this journey, really have made me realize what a fantastic job you are doing not spoiling things.
Okay.
You work really hard at it. So here, Anime Problem 1070. This is 10 days ago. Moria has an interesting and tragic story. If you look at his original crew died, he lost all his motivation to do anything, seeking for the laziest solution to become the king of the pirates. He is no longer actually trying. He's a warlord living like he's dead, while Brook is a dead man living like he's dying. Moria is another dark mirror of Luffy. What happens when you're the only one left, and unlike Brook, you don't have a purpose or a will that drives you forward?
That is a very good... that's a very, very good summary of Thriller Bark.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a very good comparison.
I picked it for a reason.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a good comparison between Gecko and Brook.
Yes, it is.
As like themes to explore in Thriller Bark.
But well, I don't want to get too technical. Technically, Brook's not a dead man. He is
a skeleton.
He is a skeleton. But, yeah. Here, Jonathan Seven Skyfire. And by the way, thank you guys for commenting. I'm not criticizing you. Well, I'm kind of criticizing you, I guess. I said you're wrong.
Disagree.
Gecko Moria is a very interesting character for me. I personally like him more than some of the other main villains in other big arcs. I always have trouble putting my thoughts into words when it comes to Moria, but I see him as a broken, depressed person who has seen the harsh reality of the Grand Line. All of his crew were killed. Moria warns Luffy of the dangers and telling them he is not strong enough. Evelyn Handy, 6375. Evelyn, I love your comments. She kind of did a fantastic overview of all this. She writes, Moria, it's a sadder thing that he never realized how the creations he and Hogback were making were in fact living beings with their own characters. A mixture of, shadow. and body. He is, in a sense, a bad future version of Luffy, being crushed so much he can't even see and acknowledge either his crew or himself anymore. Which is why his last words to Luffy before he gets defeated sound so ominous. Go, Straw Hat, to the new world and be crushed and despaired like I was. Only time will tell if Mariah's warning will sound true. And so she goes on to say that that Moria is a fascinating character, and she hopes that I see him as she did. But she also says that he's an underrated character, and that she hopes that people will see him for who he is.
Okay.
All right. Now,
this is your show. I'm taking notes. I'm the one taking notes this time.
Here, use this.
I got my own.
You got your pencil? All right. There we go.
All right.
We're back. We're
back.
Chapter 448, Robin introduces Moria as one of the 7 warlords of the sea. In 449, he's just waking up after a 4-day sleep. We don't know why, but 4 days and he's screaming for food. Now, I did notice the parallel with Luffy. Mm-hmm. If he woke up after 4 days, he'd be screaming for food. So he learned how to eat while asleep, if I remember correctly. That was after Enies Lobby, I believe, which is pretty funny. All right. So, chapter 455, Brooke tells us that Gecko has the power of the shadow fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
I've gotten used to all these different fruits.
Yes.
Moria seeks shadows of people with high bounties. He says it makes things easier. They're zombie soldiers, they are obedient, and they are strong. The idea being that the higher the bounty, the more talent you have, the bigger the threat you are, the better zombie you will make. Mm-hmm. All right. We find out that he formerly had a bounty of 320 million berries on him, which means he was a formidable pirate.
Before he became a warlord and got that suspended.
Yes. And so his personal motto is rely on others. Don't do it yourself. All right? His favorite line is, you do it. Okay? This is right out of the book. And his very first line that he utters where he's speaking is, hurry up and make me the Pirate King. So he clearly wants other people to do things for him. He says, stop it, all of you. You're annoying me. If the pirates escaped, you all have to do something about it. He takes no responsibility for acting. He takes no responsibility for accomplishing anything. He wants his crew to do it all, his zombie crew. In 456, he's holding Luffy's shadow. I bet he'll take me another step closer to becoming the Pirate King. That's a real important one for the end. We'll go back to that because it's one of my main points that when I mentioned it to you on the phone, you said that's actually a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the conversation or not.
I vaguely, yes.
All right. So 456, we find out he lost to the idiot Kaido in the New World.
The idiot?
That's what it is.
It says the idiot?
I believe so.
Hold on, I want to see. Hold on.
Chapter 456. It'll be this. I think it'll be this one.
Okay. Let me read. I want to see if that translation actually, because that's kind of hilarious if it does.
Yeah, it's in this book right here. So find 456.
Okay, hold on. Let's see here. This is earlier.
And while you're searching, he does say to Luffy's shadow, "You will forget all human relationships that you had in the past, and you will become my loyal soldier." And it's interesting. Luffy, Oars does eventually say that. I don't recognize any of you.
Mm-hmm.
But Oars is very, very slow to let go of all of Luffy's dreams.
Yes.
And that makes him uncontrollable because Oars wants to be king of the pirates at one point, and Moria, and Shadowless Luffy. So you've got, and two of the three of them are the same person.
No, I'm just more surprised that 56 is not in this. That's fine.
I apologize.
That's an interesting choice of words if it says idiot Kaido.
I wouldn't have added that.
Okay.
All right.
I know you wouldn't have. That's just interesting. Because the translation that I said, that I've read, labeled Kaido as what he is. And that is one of the emperors. So equating him to Shanks and Whitebeard.
Right.
Which... I remember reading that when I read Thriller Bark that they said one of the emperors, Kaido. So maybe I had a bad translation or someone slipped that in because if that's future information.
The fact that it's we're reading translations, when I check online versus what I read in here, I've started to compare the translations to see which version I like better, because sometimes I just think one has better translations than others.
Sometimes, okay, that's interesting.
So
sorry.
So
we'll probably have skipped through a lot of that.
You know what? Post. Well,
fix it in post. It's my favorite term.
Fix it in post. Chapter 460. He's slumped against the wall, and he says, "Well, this is no fun at all." Now, that's a very Luffy thing to say. I can see that comparison when I'm reading it.
Yeah.
And then he says, "I'm going to stay here a little longer because I want to play with oars a bit."
Mm-hmm.
So I see these little similarities that he has with Luffy. But in chapter 463, Moria is bored with and by Luffy. He tells Luffy that killing him won't get Shadows back. He'll have to force Moria to return them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have that. And then he says in 463, "In the past, I too was full of ambition and overconfident in my own abilities. But then I realized how important it was to have superior underlings. I will never do anything on my own again. I'll become the Pirate King by simply using the help of others."
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's important to note, and I'll just say it right here, Moria is a user. He's not a captain. He's not a leader. He is a user. That's a critical distinction.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 474. Kuma comes in. He warns Gecko, "Don't lose." And Gecko is arrogant. He says, "They're worried I'm not up to the task." And to the Straw Hats, Gecko says, "Now then, I'll give you all a chance to fight me. If you win, you can release all of the shadows."
Mm-hmm.
So that's his, Now, that's a very... how do I want to describe this? Because it hit me when I was reading it. It's almost, you get a moment in movies where the bad guy's monologuing, and it creates the ridiculous moment for the good guy to escape.
Yeah.
That's a similar type thing. There was really no reason for him to do that.
Yeah.
Except to highlight how arrogant he really is.
Yeah.
Okay. In chapter 475, he says, "When I'm done with you, you'll wish you could have melted away in the sun. I'll show you what true nightmares are made of." And then we find out shortly after that he can force the body to follow the shadow and not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I have to say, in my first reading, I didn't truly appreciate that.
Yeah.
And when I went back and did the Moria study for this, I thought, that's really an incredible concept.
Yeah.
Just the Oda creativity.
It kind of also backs up what you said. If the shadow can control the body and he can control shadows, then he definitely is the... he uses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's mastered this whole shadow fruit concept. It really is good. He criticizes oars, calling them pathetic. You can't win against a single pirate. He does say in 481, here's something he does share with Luffy.
Okay.
He says, "You can't scare a real pirate with the threat of death."
Okay.
All right? Because Luffy's not afraid of death.
Nope. Right?
Zoro's not afraid of death. In fact, it's one of the things that gives them their strength is that they're willing to go all in.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he says in 481, "With your strength, you'll just die anyway. You're not fit for the new world. It seems you have a couple of good underlings. You'll lose them all. You can never count on your crew because they're mortal." And then he goes on to talk about how zombies are expendable.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies are easily replaced.
Yep.
"I will take my army of undead warriors and seize the title of Pirate King." Okay.
Yeah.
Understanding that he's not actually going to do anything. They're going to do it for him. He's going to use them.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I wrote this here, but it stuck out this time on my trip through. The power of everyone calling back their shadows was a fantastic moment in this story.
You just... Oh, fuck. I just came up with the... I just realized something about... the Straw Hats listening, and it's unrelated.
Okay.
I just realized something about the Straw Hats.
I live for these moments. I love this stuff.
Shit.
All right, and you probably can't say it to me.
I can actually talk about it.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah,
okay.
no.
Right.
I can talk about it in the context, but I literally just did a quick run through of everything.
Okay.
And fuck. Okay.
Okay. Now, as I was writing all of this, and I was taking a look at everything, because I looked for every line Gecko Moria said.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the text, but I'm also looking at the artwork.
Yes.
Where, and I made this comment to you when you were at the house. I said, if you look at Gecko Moria's artwork, tell me he isn't meant to resemble the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one particular picture. You can see it now. If in post it actually makes it up.
Sure.
That he does. And your comment to me was he doesn't resemble the devil. He resembles did you say an Oni?
Vampire. Or an Oni, yes.
An Oni.
A demon, yeah.
A demon, right?
Yeah, it kind of looks more like that, yeah.
So I grab my phone and I look up...
Which Ors also
Oni.
looks...
Yes.
Very much. And Ors is intentionally, I believe.
But, well, I think Mariah's is too.
Yeah.
I'll be totally honest.
Ors is red in the anime, so...
Okay, but in the book, in the manga,
yeah.
Ors is just white with black outline.
I know.
Mariah is shaded in.
Yeah.
Okay, but when I looked at the pictures of the Oni online, it just backed up my position on this. The artwork shows him as an evil type character.
Yeah.
Okay. Comparison to Luffy. Okay. Never once, when Moria is talking about his lost crew, does he express regret at the loss of the crew members.
Yeah.
He never talks about the loss of friends. He never talks about the loss of camaraderie. He was let down in his quest to become the Pirate King by mortality, and so he decided, screw mortality, I'm just going to use zombies. I'm going to use people. I'm going to steal their shadows, which is almost saying I'm going to steal their souls.
It's very much. It's
right.
Just a PG way of saying
and he's going to use it so that he can become the Pirate King.
But you can't have Mariah controlling souls when Brooks' fruit is called the soul fruit.
Well,
that's
so
why.
yeah.
Very much why. Anyway.
So his dream remains. His method is ruthless. And I wrote here, this is my line down here at the bottom of the notes, was he's stealing souls. So if you take a look at that and you mirror Brooks, which a couple people here have mentioned, the mirror of Moria and Brooks. Mm-hmm. Brooks is mourning the loss of friends. He's mourning the loss of shipmates. He's mourning the loss of camaraderie.
Yeah.
Binks' sake is a funeral rite. He's putting everything to bed finally, so much so that he creates a memorial to his crew before they leave.
Yeah.
Right? And then he leaves with hope.
Yeah.
Nowhere in Gecko Moria's story up to this point do you see him showing anything other than pure, ruthless selfishness.
Yeah.
There's nothing. And so here's my big thing. I asked you this question on the phone, and I kind of you agreed with me. I remember the pause. So give me one example since chapter 1 where Luffy used other people for his personal gain, where he really uses people. Yeah. But what does he do? He meets Kobe, and Kobe says, I want to be a Marine, and I want to hunt down pirates. Mm-hmm. And even though that means that Kobe is going to be a threat, Luffy encourages him to be the best possible Marine he can be. Mm-hmm. Right? He helps Kaya. He puts his life on the line for this stranger. He helps Vivi. He puts his life on the line. He helps Multiblock Nolan Cricket. He helps Tanjit and Shelley. Mm-hmm. Every arc is this generous person who has a goal, but he will put his life on the line for other people. And here is ultimately my point and why I think the one is the mirror of the other fails. I don't think you can make the argument to this point in the story that Moria ever possessed the qualities and the character traits that Luffy has.
Okay.
Because when he's expressing his loss, he's not expressing the loss that Binks is. He's not expressing... How many people pointed out to me when Usopp quit the Straw Hats and he left, how many different people pointed out in the comments that Luffy didn't smile for 60 some odd chapters?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That he took the loss of one shipmate that hard as the leader. So Luffy could go to the Grand Line and fail and never turn into Moria. Because the qualities, their characteristics underlying the two characters up to this point in the story, they don't support that argument.
So you're saying is that you see nothing in the way that Moria has been written so far in Thriller Bark that would lead you to believe that Moria ever possessed the same qualities that Luffy did.
Yes.
And therefore, so to summarize, because that was a lot of really good notes, just to summarize.
I'm done. I'll breathe now.
Nothing in Thriller Bark led you to believe that Gecko... I'm sorry, I'm going to call him Moria, because that's how
okay.
I've always heard it. That Moria ever... was ever like Luffy to have become a dark version of Luffy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. And so all the comments, I think that people are either reading into the character because the text of the book does not support it.
I feel like you could, if you really wanted to, read into that a little bit more. If you wanted to think, but you would, I mean, reading it from this perspective of reading just Thriller Bark, when he says, I lost my shipmates, and now, obviously now, in Thriller Bark, he's like a jaded person.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, was he that jaded to begin with? That he could have easily let go? Or did he get beat so hard that he became jaded? And I think that's the question you would have to ask yourself at Thriller Bark to swing one way or another on this topic. For you, I think you weren't swung towards the idea. You think he was always a little jaded. And then
it would have taken one sentence. It would have taken just one sentence.
I miss my crew.
And my interpretation would fail. My whole argument here would fail.
That's true. I would agree with that. So my whole stance on this is that I don't remember anything coming later that redeems Moria in any way. So I don't know where any of this came from. However, I'm up to date and rereading.
You told me that there's information
about
Moria that comes later.
Yeah, there is information about him, but I don't remember any information that sways the opinion that hard. What I will say though, is it might not have been in a place I would have read. Oda does a lot of stuff in SBSs. So those Q&A quarters,
right?
The SBSs. Yes. He answers a lot of questions. He also drops a lot of lore in those.
Okay.
And sometimes it's massive lore.
Yes.
In those Q&As, and especially as the series goes on.
His world building revealed through SBS is incredible.
One of the things that he does, and this is minor spoilers, because I won't say what goes into it, but what comes in some of the SBSs is, I think it was a fan started this, asked questions. What would Luffy look like in like 40 years and in 60 years? And Oda actually went the extra mile. He showed two timelines. He showed two versions of Luffy age progress. So he showed Luffy at 40 and 60 in a good timeline.
Okay.
Where,
right.
He becomes, assumedly after One Piece ends and he becomes the Pirate King.
Sure.
Without giving spoilers or anything, obviously, but it's like, and that Luffy looks like Garp. A lot like Garp in the 40 and 60, but then he also shows a dark timeline where they fail. And he did this with every single Straw Hat.
Okay.
And the dark timeline's kind of depressing because in the good timeline, like they still look healthy,
right,
and strong,
right,
or beautiful. In Nami and Robin's case, they still look pretty. And then in the dark timeline, everyone's just wretched. Like they look like the most disgusting old man. Like if you thought if you pictured disgusting old man in Oda's art style, that would be it, And
it would break my heart to see Nami as a hag.
Well, he's drawn it, so in the SBSs, which you'll find entertaining, and I don't remember enough details from those to like really spoil what is said in those, but it does give some clues that people have like kind of locked in on. It's like, ooh, what's going to happen? But I think that also plays part of a role.
Okay.
Because, Dark Timeline Luffy kinda is saying and mirroring what many villains in the series have said to him about giving up on dreams.
So if this is SBS,
and that
future SBS.
What I'm saying is that might be influencing.
Okay.
But, how many villains at this point have told Luffy to give up on your dream because it's not worth it?
Or have said,
you'll never be able to accomplish it.
I'm going to get it, not you, so...
Or I wasn't able to get it. What makes you think you could? I'm so much better than... That sort of thing. Kuro, Don Krieg, a lot of the East Blue villains were basically... They had given up on their goal. And then when you get to the Grand Line, a lot of them are still in pursuit of their goal.
Yes.
Or they failed and now they're trying again. But they've been beaten down, so now they don't have the same level of enthusiasm or confidence, and it's actually something.
So in here, I have just gotten through a section where I've been introduced to 7 different guys who are currently going for.
Oh, you met the Supernovas
to the point where I have to stop and I've got to make.
You met the Supernovas.
You remember?
You met this guy.
Okay.
You met this hat.
Do you remember?
I can stop pretending like that guy doesn't exist.
Do you remember how there were so many different characters in Monte Cristo that I took a 5x7 index card and I made myself a cheat sheet of characters?
Mm-hmm.
I have to do that for this. There's so many different characters.
It's about to explode even more.
Yeah.
Of characters you're going to have to keep track of? Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, I will tell you this. I love your comments, everybody. I truly do, and I read them, and I hope you understand that it's because I love your comments so much that I decided to do this. Because when I pitched this idea,
the first time you've done this.
This is. I think I've earned the right 500 chapters in.
You're reading
because I've been very deferential to everyone else who knows more than me.
Yeah,
but I brought the receipts, so if I'm wrong, show me what I missed. And that's not only a challenge. If I'm wrong and you can show me where I'm wrong, I will make a video eating crow. We will put a plate of fresh baked crow out here. I will eat it.
It would have to be in the context of just Thriller Bark.
Yeah, it can't be anything after the Thriller Bark arc. Yeah. Because
Gauntlet Throne.
Gauntlet Throne. I went through every page. I looked at every.
What are we titling this? You're wrong about Gecko Moria.
Yes.
Are we titling that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Dad stakes his claim.
All right. And it's just
yeah. And we're
in context.
We're gonna end this on an upbeat note.
We'll see when you get to later. If this will be very interesting if we get to later in the story and you go, okay, I see what they were talking about now that I've got added context.
I will always do that.
Yes,
but we can only go on this, or we've entered spoiler category.
Yeah. No, and that's why I stayed the out of this one.
That's why I told everybody earlier. Welcome to Noah's world. He worked so hard at this.
If you wanna play devil's advocate,
sure. Which you do so very well.
If he's a very, very, if we want to make the argument that he is not a he's what would happen to Luffy if Luffy failed,
right?
Which is a take,
Right.
That is a way of saying it. I think one of the ways to do it is to say that he is a mirror to Luffy, like so many villains have mirrored different qualities. So if I may pitch in. So
pitch.
We meet Zoro. Who's the villain of the arc where we meet Zoro for the first time?
Oh, Axe-Hand Morgan.
Axe-Hand Morgan. Cool.
Yeah.
So what does Axe-Hand Morgan kind of represent as a villain? What is his shtick?
Oh my goodness, you're catching me off guard with this
one. No. Let me explore through this real quick because this just occurred to me a little bit. So what Morgan is strength.
Yes.
He's brutality.
Mindless brutality.
Mindless brutality.
Yeah.
Now let's take a look at Zoro.
Right.
What is Zoro as a defining characteristic? He's strength.
Right.
He can be pretty brutal. But he's not always He's kind of mindless, but he's not in the same way. But hold on, hear me out. But he also is loyal, which Morgan is not.
No.
He also has kindness, which Morgan does not.
He doesn't have a kindness towards Helmeppo.
Exactly. So I wouldn't say they're like two sides of the same coin, but I would say that Morgan is kind of like the dark link to Zoro. And if we kind of go down that rabbit hole a little bit, the Straw Hats kind of have these, like, you can make connections to the villains that they fight in their introduction, or the villains of the arc they're introduced to. Crocodile and Robin. You could make an argument there. You could make the argument with Arlong and Nami. Alright?
My heart just broke.
You can make an argument. You could make that argument but I thought about when we were talking about Brook and Gecko, because they are kind of like inverses. They have so many similarities, but they have so many opposites. But what is the cool thing about the Straw Hats that Luffy, and it connects to this note that I made. Moria says you must rely on others. Luffy does need to rely on his crew, right? They can do things he can't. He can't navigate, he can't cook, he can't heal people. He can protect them.
Keep going, I'm listening.
But, he needs to rely on them to be able to do their job, and they need to be able to rely on him. And that's the thing that Moria is. So if I'm playing devil's advocate here, there's a bit more of a connection there as well, because they both rely on others, but where Moria is completely dependent on others to achieve his dream. By choice, he is making himself dependent on others instead of going for it himself. Luffy is voluntarily reliant on others. So my thing is, maybe we shouldn't say that Moria is a bad timeline Luffy so much as we should say Moria is a mirror. A dark mirror reflection of what Luffy could be.
So many people have said that, and it's the very fact that people are saying he's a dark mirror reflection of Luffy. That's what I disagree with.
Well, I wouldn't say that a dark mirror is necessarily like Luffy, because there's a big difference between saying this is a dark reflection of Luffy's traits versus this is Luffy going down a bad timeline. They're the same person. I think those are two completely separate statements.
Okay.
Which I did see a few in this camp, that were worded more in this camp rather than in this camp.
And these were a select few.
No, I know. I read the comments too, so. Okay. But that's all I'll say on it, because I didn't do near as much research into this. That's just what came up off the top of my head. So how'd I break your heart?
I just had a realization.
Yeah?
I just had a realization. This might be the first time I'm going to say a weakness in Oda's writing.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what?
Because you just went down the timeline of comparisons. Zoro versus Axe-Hand.
Okay.
All right. And Nami versus Arlong. And, you track all of those things through, and you've got, I guess you would have to say, Usopp versus Kuro.
Kuro. Chopper versus Munch guy.
Yeah, Munch guy. Which the chapter art of Munch guy after that arc was so much fun.
Wapple, that's his name.
Wapple. Yeah, Wapple.
All
right.
I would have to really do a deep dive into that, but it's almost like Luffy is picking up the best traits of every villain as he goes. What they had that could have helped them achieve their dream, but they didn't realize.
So here's why I say it's a weakness in Oda's writing. I personally think all of Oda's antagonists, his major villains,
are one-dimensional.
Are two-dimensional.
Two-dimensional.
They're one or two-dimensional.
It will change.
And
I know.
Okay.
I know. I've been saying this for a while.
Okay.
You are getting closer to the point where that's going to change.
But up to this point,
yes,
they've been one and two-dimensional.
Yes.
And
I agree.
And Luffy and his relationship with the other Straw Hats, and when you look at those Straw Hats, those are three-dimensional characters.
Yeah.
Look at how much time is invested in learning about the heartbreak and the loss that drives Zoro.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this would be an entirely different series if every villain got the Thanos treatment.
Yes,
and they can't.
And a lot of them will.
Okay.
A lot of them will get context added later on down the line, and a lot of early villains will too. I'm not going to tell you which ones.
Okay.
But I think that's a product of what he was writing and the situation under which he was writing. Because he obviously had the ability to write three-dimensional characters, but I think that might be a side effect of I'm a young manga artist trying to make my impact, so I'm going to focus more on my main characters to tell the story and make these villains just kind of...
So later on, he figures he's earned the right to go into more depth with the villains.
Once he's cemented himself and knows that he's not going to get canceled.
I can't argue that at all.
I would say that. I agree 100% that the early One Piece villains are very two-dimensional.
Okay.
And they get fleshed out later on. A lot of the big hitters get fleshed out later on.
So, look, because I love villains that you almost root for, that you're like on the edge of your seat. What's the tragic flaw? Yeah. I'm looking for the tragic flaw. Yeah. Moria doesn't have one, or Moria, however you want to say it. He doesn't have that tragic flaw. Or I should say, he doesn't have that tragic flaw yet.
Okay, then I have a fun question for you.
Sure.
Which villains, so far, would you like to see get that treatment later on down the line? Because this will do two things. One, it's a fun question. And two, if you get some of these right, they're going to love it.
Arlong.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely.
Arlong?
Yeah.
Any others?
Because there's a theme... Who was it? Oh, gosh, my apologies. Somebody asked in the comments about real-world events.
Oh, yeah, the Straw Hat being used in, I think it's is it the Philippines right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a couple, which we don't talk about politics on this channel. You said
right,
it in
and
here.
I said that in my answer.
We don't talk about politics.
But the Arlong...
Real-world politics.
The Fishman's story...
Current-day stuff.
Runs up against racism, so obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
And so respectfully. And because the complaints that the fishmen voice, there's actually some... I might have to caveat Arlong as maybe being one who at least you can understand what's driving him.
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to take Arlong off the list of two dimensions. Because you can actually understand that. Mind you, this is a first-time read through 500
This is a first-time read,
yeah. So I'd like to see Arlong do that.
But we will be talking about that theme later on, too, with additional characters.
With additional characters?
With later characters.
I would like to...
This is a massive part of...
I would like to... I suspect we're going to. I suspect we're going to get more of the backstory of number 2. Is it? God, why do I have such a name block on
Bon Clay?
Bon Clay. Because I know he's going to make another appearance. I would love first meeting of Bon Clay, he looks two-dimensional, and then he changes. He flips in the story. So, like, there's this character redemption. So let's understand what drove him. If you're going to have character redemption, he had to be good to begin with. So he's like, he was good, and then he became bad, and then he becomes good. But we only see steps 2 and 3, bad and good. So let's find out who Bon Clay is, and let's find out what drove him through that whole thing. That would be fun to see. I actually would like to see more of Eneru.
Okay.
All right, because the chapter art on Eneru is so much fun and it's so good. I don't think there's a CP9 character that I currently care about, but when I saw Kaku being used as a slide in one of the chapter arts performing for money, that was hysterical. The giant giraffe neck slide. I enjoyed that. But yeah, I mean, those would be off the top of my head, those would,
That's fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And I would love to, and now I will answer all comments that you put on this video, but I would love to revisit this one maybe in 300-400 chapters when we have more information where I can readdress this question. Yeah.
We'll do a sequel to this one.
Pardon? Yeah, I'll do a sequel to this one.
We do a sequel follow-up in a couple
5
years.
years later.
It's called I Was Wrong About Gecko Moria.
And then you'll see the age progression of me as we're reading this story. And...
You won't have to dye your hair to do Garp anymore.
No. By the way, thank you everybody for all of your compliments about our costumes on that, because you liked both costumes, and somebody wrote the mask maketh the man. I laughed out loud at that one. That was funny.
All right, Garp's eating kind of good right now in the manga.
Is he?
Yeah. Garp stocks went up a little bit.
Gotcha.
With what's going on currently.
I am looking forward to finishing that costume properly. Yeah. And I already know what I'm doing. And,
same with Shanks,
yeah, it's going to be good.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches. This is not... I joked about the gauntlet, but I don't think you mean this as like a serious boom.
No,
you're not trying to be aggressive.
No.
It's like
I've been trying to be playful through this whole thing, but I will say this: I did the work. I brought the receipts. Yep. I did the research. I looked at the quotes.
So now it's time for a discussion.
Now it's time to...
Let's have a nice discussion in the comments.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, look, I will admit if I'm wrong. If someone can show me the error of my ways, just give me a chapter number, and I'll reread the chapter. I'll take a look at it.
Post a link to a scan.
Yeah. Oh, I love this stuff. Are you kidding? I feed on this stuff. This is good.
It's the teacher in you coming out.
It is. It's the teacher in me coming out, but also I've passed a tipping point in my One Piece journey where
You've got a lot of the information.
I'm no longer the deferential reader feeling like I'm behind on the learning curve.
You've gotten a good amount, and you're about to hit the where the tide's changing in the One Piece story. You're right on the doorstep, so it's going to be fun. The next slew of episodes is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited.
Okay, so and then here's the real cool thing. So, by the time this comes out, this will already be done. But on next Friday, a week from today, I'm having knee surgery.
Yeah.
Right, which means I'm going to be done with my school semester.
Yeah, you better order a ton of these.
I already have.
You better have your next
so
8.
I'm going to have time. I'm going to actually have an excuse. Sorry, honey, I'm resting my knee. I can't paint the bedroom.
Let's go. Let's get this going. There's going to be a slew.
I'm going to be reading One Piece. As long as I'm not high from pain medication, I'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's get a front load of One Piece content.
Sure.
Because we're going to need some of it.
I'm game.
We're going to need some of it because I'm going to be inundated with an infant.
Oh, this is going to be so great.
In December, which will put a hold on our filming schedule. So.
Garp and Grandpa. All at the same time.
Yeah, you'll have a little Luffy. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches, all you lonely people out there. You thought I wasn't going to do it.
No, I forgot about it already.
Love y'all.
See you next time.